What's up, listeners and supporters of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast? We need some help from you, and it won't take up too much of your time. As we grow, we always want to hear your feedback, so take a minute or two to fill out a short anonymous survey. The survey link is right in the episode notes for this podcast. It's easy and takes less than 5 minutes. As always, we thank you for your continued support. We have a guest back. His name is Jarod Hector. He writes for Black Sports Online. He is back with us, episode 53 of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Dexter Henry, Bryan Fonseca here. We had to bring Jarod back. You know why we bring Jarod back? Because he's one of the best guys out there doing sports and entertainment. And this episode's going to be a lot about sports
and entertainment. Well, it depends on what kind of entertainment you like, right? It's a different flavor of entertainment.
Different kind of flavor of entertainment. But I mean, sports is entertainment, right?
Certainly
we were talking about that last time.
I'm not even sure if I'm ready for this one, but we can just get right into it.
It doesn't matter if you're ready for this one.
We gonna be ready.
I was not. I was in a man.
You're supposed to stay ready.
That's true.
Stay ready also.
Stay ready. You don't have to get ready.
Exactly right.
Especially as a short guy, you're supposed to always stay
ready.
No, but he's right. He's right. The levels of needing to defend yourself when you're undersized in physical stature, then yes. I'm only talking about height and weight, guys.
Because of Bryan's level of violence, he strikes me as a guy who always has to stay ready.
Yeah, he's a combat sport guy, as you know. So,
yes.
You know.
He loves the violence. He's here for the violence.
Yo, the big thing is if you're a small guy, and I mean, I'm not a small guy. I'm an average probably size guy. But if there's big dudes around, yo, man, and if there's a fight, first of all, I'm not trying to get in any fights. But all things that are available to me are fair game. If you're bigger than me and you might kill me, guess what? I'm picking up that bottle, whatever's in that's closed, I'm using it because you're not gonna come kill me.
You know how when they say
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and you know how when they say smaller basketball players or smaller football players, like they play like they have a big chip on their shoulder because they've been undersized their entire life. Yeah,
yep.
I write like that. So
you live your life like that,
right? Try me.
Coming for you.
All right. Well, we're gonna kick this podcast off with something. Well, the night before we recorded this episode. News was broken to me thanks to Bryan Fonseca.
Yes.
A tweet. If you've watched this podcast for quite some time,
or listened,
knows me, a lot of people, some people think that I look like a certain NBA player.
I mean, I don't particularly see it, but okay.
Other people see it.
Sure.
I get that sometimes. I get some people who say Stephen A. Smith.
You'd probably prefer that at this point.
Well, yeah, it may hit or miss at this point, right?
It doesn't really matter to me.
Okay.
But whatever. So Bryan sent out a tweet, and this is how I'm going to relay how I got the news. Bryan sends out this tweet and tweets at me, and he's like, I can't say that Dexter Henry looks like Dwight Howard anymore. So I'm just like, man, here we go with this again. So I just responded, man, but I did not really
And then
understand.
I texted you, I was like, you know why I said that tweet? You were like, what happened?
What?
And then I was like, just a quick Twitter search.
So I did
all you need.
I did a quick Twitter search.
Yeah.
Went down that thread.
And I went into the thread. And all you need to do for people, if you have not seen this already, just search Dwight Howard thread.
Yep, it's right there for you.
Not what I expected.
Neither did I. Not what I thought was coming either.
But you know what? At the same time, and I told Jarod this before we started, not entirely shocked. Just because not that happened, obviously, but I'm saying that not shocked that who's involved in this kind of, big Twitter night event on a weekend that is highly problematic. Well, let's say.
It's interesting. We're going to delve into it. I don't know that I would say that. I might push back on you on that. I think what I will say is that I'm not shocked because this is 2018, man. And I think the reality of it is we are becoming more aware of who people are. And the question and the reason we're having pushback and excitement or whatever about it is whether or not we in the collective, I don't mean us sitting here, this is a society, are we accepting of this thing? Right? And that's the $1 million question.
The $1 million question is interesting to see on Twitter to set the stage for people about what we are actually talking about here that Bryan was alluding to was there was a Twitter post by a transsexual woman who identifies a man who's, I don't know if she's fully transitioned. So I'm also not sure of all those. So to be totally
and the
respectful.
correct terminology, you want to be respectful. Yep.
Yep. But according to some reports, a trans woman who identifies as a gay man, who reportedly was in a relationship, not reportedly, but came out and said on Twitter that was in a relationship with Dwight Howard and accused the NBA center of having threatened him after they engaged in intimate relations that he apparently wanted to keep on the down low. Now, there's a whole thread of this, as all of us saw. There is audio in this thread, and I don't know if we all feel the same way, but I will say from listening to the audio, it sure sounds a lot like Dwight Howard.
Yeah, I don't think there's no denying at this point that was
And
Dwight
let's
Howard.
also be clear, in this thread, the individual who accused Dwight Howard refers to the person she's talking to, he or she, excuse me, I want to be respectful to that.
Yeah.
The person refers to Dwight as Dwight multiple times.
Yes, yes.
And it is never said, well, yo, my name's not Dwight. If somebody called me and I wasn't my name, I'd be like, yo, I'm not Dwight.
Which probably happened, then you probably said, no, I'm not Dwight.
Yo, man.
You
Wow.
wild. You wild.
No, that hasn't happened. I just want to be clear. People sometimes mess around and call me Derek or something like that, and I have to be like, no, my name's Dexter.
Derek.
Yeah, that happens, which is my nephew's name.
Derek Henry. That's a running back from the Titans.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and but
I thought he'd be better than he is, but that's a sidebar.
no, yes. So that happens. Look, here's the thing, and this is kind of what you were alluding to, Jarod. I saw this news. I'm reading through this. I'm trying to process all this and get this, and I'm looking at some of the reactions on Twitter, and obviously a lot of the reactions you saw on Twitter, sadly, were transphobic and homophobic.
Yes,
All right.
your lip.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I'm making sure
It's not really that important right now.
No, but I'm making sure the people watching on YouTube don't get bothered. You know what I'm saying?
Hope you're listening to me, not staring at my lips. But if you want to, that's fine. This is what you saw, and I thought that was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That this is the reaction.
Yeah.
My first thing kind of went to, hey, this is an issue in the trans community. Has a lot been about the safety of people there, and when you see this woman who's in the process of transitioning to a man get threatened, which appears to have happened through what we see, that's not cool.
No.
And the people in those communities, from what I've been reading and understanding from people who are in that community over the last couple of years and become more enlightened to that, is there's a lot of fear for their safety.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that they worry about in their lives, just normal going down the street every day, trying to live their life as a trans person in this country. None of this is cool.
No.
So if Dwight Howard was allegedly threatening this person and also trying to get other people involved in this,
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
not cool at all.
No.
And I think that's the point I saw. I don't know how y'all feel, but seeing that missed on Twitter, or there were people who called it out, obviously.
Yeah.
But there was so much transphobia, so much homophobia.
Yep.
I was disgusted with that. And a lot of the focus has become jokes on Dwight Howard.
Right.
He had a buttocks injury that kept
Yep.
him out. And everybody's like, oh,
Yep.
yo, he had a butt injury. Linking to This Is Why, which is extremely homophobic and immature. But, yeah, what do you think about this, Jarod?
You know, so like you guys, when I first saw it, I was like, wait, what? Like that, I was like, okay, because it's
Immediately stopped what I was doing.
Right, it's just a jarring story, right? So, which in and of itself is another matter entirely. That you would think that I would think it's jarring. There's so much to unpack here within this situation, right? And it all comes down to this idea of comfort level and people's ability to be comfortable in their own skin. And apparently we live in a society which is very clear that people are not comfortable in their own skin, right? Particularly if they are outside of the norms. And in this case, right, the hetero norms, right? And so there's so much going on here. Clearly, the Twitter is not the place for nuance or perspective, or that's just not what Twitter is, right? Twitter's tagline is probably jokes greater than facts, right? Like that's what Twitter's about, right?
That's true.
It's about jokes. People want to get these jokes off. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, wait a minute. What is funny here? Like, what is funny to laugh at? It is not funny that this woman, who may not be fully transitioned yet, but this transgender person feels threatened and their life is in danger. That's not funny. What's hilarious about that? It's not funny that Dwight clearly does not feel comfortable enough that this story can get out, that he has to threaten this woman to, if you leak this, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. That's not funny. What's funny about that? Right? Like, there's so much going on here, and I feel like we need to inject humanity into this and realize these are people, right? First and foremost. And we need to, as other human beings and citizens of this world, we need to be respectful of that, right? This is clearly, obviously, a damaging situation for this woman, for this transgender person, and for Dwight Howard. And we need to introduce a level of sympathy and compassion when we're looking at this. Because now, Dwight is clearly, and I was going to use a pun, and it doesn't make sense. Dwight's going to be like joke fodder for the rest of time now. This is what it is. And in a NBA environment, which, let's be honest, it's masculine. It's probably got shades of toxic masculinity in it, right?
Yep.
Because that's just the nature of sport. When you have a bunch of testosterone and guys competing, his teammates are probably clowning him right now. Like, I don't, in that Wizards locker room, the rest of the league, I'm sure jokes are flying back and forth right now. What's this going to do to Dwight's career going forward?
Yeah, and that's kind of another thing that I thought about in all this was that element of it.
And this woman.
Yeah. That being first and foremost, right. But then just the basketball side of it, right? We've sort of heard Dwight being linked to some of these other stories before where people didn't like him with the Lakers, and we know about him and Kobe. Mm-hmm. In Charlotte, Brendan Haywood said after he left that they hated him there and things of that nature, and they never wanted anything to do with him. And now he's become a journeyman center who's bouncing around from team to team to team. And in a lot of cases, you would say that, he's just at the tail end of his career, which he pretty much is. But for someone putting up the numbers that he does, because absolutely. I think people forget that he was great.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yes, I agree. Facts. And
he is still an elite rebounder in this league.
As recent as earlier this decade, we were talking about who would you take to start your team, Dwight Howard or LeBron James?
Yep, facts.
This was as recent as 2010, 2011 or so, right? And some people would have taken Dwight Howard, but then the league rapidly changed and whatever. But with all that being said, he's just always been sort of linked to these things. And I reminded Dexter last night, because he had forgotten real quick.
Yep.
Remember 4 years ago, the Houston Rockets story where he was in the hotel scene in, oddly enough, like his practice uniform or whatever it is. Him and this 16-year-old girl holding hands, and then there's another girl there, and evidently there's probably somebody else there because somebody's taking the pictures. Don't know necessarily what went on, but obviously there's something going on. And so he's always just sort of been around some sort of mess in his career pretty much at every stop. So I feel like this could be, just that nail in the coffin where after the season, that might be it, because he might not be worth the risk any longer.
I think it's sad if that comes to that, because none of it has to do with his play on the basketball court.
None of it. He's averaging almost a double-double again, and he's only playing, I think, roughly 25 minutes a game.
And this year, he's done the things the Wizards, even though they are mess in their own right, the things that they've asked him to do. If you look the last couple of years in Charlotte, he still wanted to be the guy in the post. He still wanted a lot of the post touches. He's been setting the screens. He's been rolling off for John Wall in the minutes he's played. He's actually not tried to play the old Dwight Howard. He's tried to sort of expand and play within himself in the way this league is right now. For me personally, the stuff about other people not liking him in the locker room, which there has been whispers around the NBA, that would be a concern to me.
Remember, the Nets, when they got him in that deal where they were going to buy him out right away, they wanted, and I know this, they wanted zero parts of Dwight Howard.
Yes, we both know this,
even though you could argue that even with Jarrett Allen there, it probably could have helped that team on the court.
Didn't want
maybe even some sort of mentorship role to Jarrett Allen. They were like, nah, bro, we just want to buy you out. We're just doing this trade to help us monetarily moving forward. We have nothing to do with this guy.
So there's
nothing.
There's two questions here, I wonder. Because of the locker room thing, how much of that do you think is about Dwight and his quote-unquote clownish behavior, or do we think that there are players in the NBA who know about Dwight's sexuality preferences, like prior to all this stuff coming out?
I would think that there's other guys in the NBA who probably feel the way he does in terms of their sexuality preferences.
I'm sure there are.
So I don't know if that's as big of an issue, but I will say that in other cases it can be both, right? I think that people could just think that he's a problem just all the way around. I don't think it has to be one or the other, or his behavior, his play on the court, him thinking he's better than he is, or him being a headache to be around. I think it could be all those things.
I think it could be too. I think the clownish behavior is probably paramount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can clown around a lot of stuff.
Right.
And the Kobe thing too, because I mean, a lot of these players, as Jarod points out a lot.
Oh my God, they revere that dude. Not that I don't, not that I don't think Kobe's great, but jeez.
But they grow up idolizing Kobe, and in doing so, you're obviously going to take Kobe's side in that Kobe Dwight thing, because a lot of them were still teenagers and kids when that was going on.
So now they're looking at Dwight like, you were the dude who kind of went against Kobe.
Yeah,
and
like,
also
if you're in that level of Kobe stanism,
yeah, which I mean, the residents of the nation of Kobe stan are serious, right?
Yeah. I'm a Kobe fan, but I am not, and I'm not there.
They are serious, and Kobe, that was part of when all that stuff around the league was going down. Once Kobe was like, Dwight's a bad locker room guy, all of a sudden you saw a lot of teams just parroting out the same things Kobe was saying. And the other part for Dwight is, and Dexter, we talked about this off, and maybe we want to go here now, this idea of Dwight and his sexual preferences, whatever they may be, right? Yeah. Sexuality is a spectrum, and I want to be very clear about this from the jump. I am not a sexual therapist, psychologist, physio, none of that stuff. All I know is I read lots of things, and I observe the world that I'm in. Sexuality is a spectrum. People fit somewhere on it, whatever that is, from completely hetero to homosexual to all different types of things. And obviously anything outside of what is quote-unquote normal is seen as problematic to the majority, right? So clearly this is problematic for some people. We know about Dwight's upbringing as a child, coming from a church background and very religious. And I can tell you as someone who grew up in a very religious household, religion is something that I find in many ways problematic. I don't want to offend religious people right now, but listen, I'm just going to say what I'm feeling. It is all about suppression, control, and limiting the way in which your mind naturally thinks. When you're going through puberty and all these things, religion is always telling you all those things you're thinking. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Sex, bad. Everything is evil, and you should stay away from it.
Right.
That stuff keeps getting pounded into your mind from a young age by the time you really can understand. And if Dwight grew up like the way I did, you're in church from the time you were 3 or 4 years old, and you're going to multiple services 3 times. Listen.
I know that life.
It's repetitive, and you start getting that constantly, that message over and over in your head. You start, and doctor, this is what you believe. Well, this is what my family believes. Hopefully, as an adult, you start to see more of the world, and you're like, this is absolute nonsense. What are you talking about? And for Dwight, that never happened, because remember, he went straight from high school to the NBA.
There you go.
And he had that interview, I don't know if you guys remember, right before he got in, about wanting to change the NBA logo. Do you remember that?
I do.
He's like, I had a dream, and the logo was not going to be Jerry West. It was going to be a silhouette of a player with like the cross that, allegedly Jesus died on, right? Like,
oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And people in the league were like, dude, what? And there were guys in the league, if you remember, we were like, if we draft him, our goal is going to be to take him out right away and have him meet like strippers and whatever. We'll get that knocked out of him real quick.
Yep.
And well, we know that essentially basically did happen.
well, the point you're making
Right.
is what happens to a guy like Dwight Howard, which you and I can both attest to, growing up in really religious homes and having to go to church all the time. And then you're 18, and then you get all of this put in. Like, I don't know if me at 18 could have dealt with what would have came with the NBA in front of me.
I think about that all the
Man.
time.
I would have bugged out.
Right?
Literally
Now,
bugged out.
And I don't even think I probably grew up as religious as what
Right.
Dwight Howard did. And I also want to reference that Jarod and I are referencing this information from a fantastic piece that Lee Jenkins wrote when he was still with Sports Illustrated last year about Dwight Howard. And I encourage anybody to read it. It's called What Happened to Superman. It talks about Dwight Howard, sexuality, religion, all this stuff. And I think it'll give you some perspective on maybe where we got to today. For all you guys out there who maybe made some transphobic or homophobic jokes or joking on Dwight Howard, maybe read this before to give yourself perspective. But I want you to go back into what you're saying, because I think you're bringing up a good point.
Yeah. So religion it causes this delayed development in many ways from your emotional, particularly on the sexual side of things, right? And then you get into the league, you become an adult, you're like, okay, I have no normal rules and restrictions, no one telling me what to do, and these forces collide, right? And oftentimes they're problematic, right? And I'm sure, for Dwight, initially, that probably was, right? I mean, Dexter, you were saying offline, his family wasn't talking to him right after he got
after his first child out of wedlock.
Because, most religions teach you, particularly on the Judeo-Christian side, you don't have children unless you're married to a woman. And it's very specific about what sex is for. Sex is not for pleasure. Sex is about procreation, period. Right? And that is what religion teaches people. And look, too much of that is not good. And I'm not knocking anybody who this is what you need to get through life, because life is hard. So if religion is how you can make it through the day, by all means, more power to you. But there is a danger side to that. And I think we see that with Dwight Howard. What growing up in a religious household will do, now couple that to instant fame. Literally, you are a millionaire overnight, and everything is offered up to you on a platter. I mean,
he definitely lived up to that procreation part. I will say that much.
Well, he did.
Brian shot that.
But you had to try to find something. No, but you know what I think what you're saying is I understand completely where you're coming from, having grown up very similarly, but also I had the ability to, and I'm not comparing myself to Dwight Howard because I think it's two different things.
Absolutely.
But having the ability to see other things and change my mindset, or where I'm at the same wavelength where you are, or the way I look at religion and spirituality in a maybe a broader way, not in a controlled sense.
Exactly.
But what I think is, what you have to see is, there has to be balance.
Yes, absolutely.
And when you don't have balance, like you said, you have two things that came to an head. This is kind of what happens, and it's really. It's almost, I feel sorry for Dwight Howard in that way, and I feel sorry that the conversation, for the most part, it's a good thing that we're having it here on this podcast, might get away from like, but how did we get here?
It's extremes, right? You go from literally complete denial of this thing to now, I mean, you guys, we are around the NBA, and not only are we around the NBA, we hear stories. We know what that league is like.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, you go from super religious household, no, to yes. Like
yeah, I mean,
that's not good,
bro. You've been around NBA locker rooms. You see some of the women that pull up around there after games. Dexter, you know about that.
I've seen. I've seen.
Listen, listen, man.
But the thing is, and we're also not like. We're not anti-religion. I just want to say that also.
Anti-religion.
We're not saying that too, because people are going to hear that and misinterpret like, oh, they're all atheists, and that's far from the case. We just, religion is just an extreme measure of believing in a higher power, believing in God, and things like that.
You can be spiritual and not and have a spiritual relationship and not be so dogmatic in your approach.
That's what, and we've talked about this before, Dexter.
That's where I am as a person.
Yeah,
not to put my beliefs on anybody out there, but But I just think that it is somewhat sad that maybe Dwight Howard appears to have, I read from Lee Jenkins, not to have this balance. And you also wonder, in the suppression that you spoke about, was his, and Jarod spoke about sexuality being a spectrum, was that suppressed for him? Dwight Howard was told, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Maybe he never got to identify for what he actually likes.
Right.
So now Dwight Howard has actually been going about what he actually likes, but still feels the need, if you believe what was sent in his Twitter message and the audio you heard, where now he's trying to suppress that. It's like, this is what I like, but this can't come out. And it's sad that he can't be, if this is true, who he wants to be in 2018. And it's sad that people are clowning him for that. Yep. It's sad that this trans person has to feel like, I'm not protected, so I got to put this out. And I want to be clear on something. I do not blame this individual for putting this out if they felt like they were threatened. Exactly. That is real for people in that. That is real for people in that community. Yeah. And I understand that. I'm not that. I think somebody who is of that community is better to speak on it than me. But I can understand that real and that threat. And I think we need to take that seriously and support the trans sisters and brothers out there and be like, hey, this is not cool. They shouldn't be threatened. There's no place for that anybody.
None. And to Jarod's point, let's also remember who threatened.
Right. It was Dwight, right?
It was the pastor.
Oh, right. It was Dwight's pastor.
Of all people, a pastor in this scenario. Also placed
and you see, this is my point, right?
From a block number also.
And this is my problem and why I find so much hypocrisy within religion, right? You are a pastor, right? You are the way that... anyone who's a pastor, priest, the clergyman, the person that's up in your place of worship that speaks to the congregation, right? They are allegedly, right, called to this calling from God, right? They allegedly have a line to God. They speak to God regularly. Every religion from the Judeo-Christian perspective talks about God being a God of love, right? This is not love to me, right? If you are threatening someone where's the love there? Yeah. That's not love.
No, I agree.
And you are hating someone who is different. That is not anything like what God is supposed to be like.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like with the NCAA. My theory is that, like, look, those older rules just can't hold up in today's world. where you can't not pay the players and things like that. Or it's like you can't look like the world's changed so much where this is more normal now than it ever has been in terms of being, you know.
And to think about, sorry, Brian, think about sexuality and all this stuff too. This isn't new. This has been since the dawn of civilization.
Oh yeah,
like,
right.
I mean, like what?
I'm only talking about the sort of you know, people knowing about it and it being in our face and upfront and mainstream, if you will.
Yes.
That's a new thing that we're still all adjusting to, and I think the rules of religion in some respects have not adjusted to that. Then that's pretty obvious.
They're still arcane for sure.
Pardon me, but the pastor that called from the block number, there has been a name attached to this person?
I have not.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm wondering if because that kind of triggered something for me, remembering in the Lee Jenkins article that Dwight was seeing this guy. This is as of last year, September 2017. He was seeing a guy, Calvin Simmons, who basically is minister to a bunch of professional athletes.
I think that's him.
Including
that was
Adrian
him.
Peterson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
including Adrian Peterson.
now I just want to read some stuff because they said Dwight had seen him. He spoke to Lee Jenkins in this article. This is from this article. Howard started seeing Simmons for 3 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week in Houston on the road when he was playing in Houston. Quote, we talked a lot about the difference between physical attraction and authentic love, Simmons recalls. When Dwight first got to Orlando, he was looking at teammates who were 28 with a wife and 2 kids going off to dinner. That's what he desired, an authentic relationship with a real girlfriend. But when you're raised in faith and you fall into something, there can be a tendency to feel like you're not worthy of coming out of it. You can go into a dark hole and stay there. He got to a point where he thought, I like sex. I don't believe the heart really exists because that's not what anybody's reaching for. So he went through this process where he enjoyed something detrimental to him. Some of our best conversations were about why you put yourself in position to be devalued, right? Then it goes on to talk about how Dwight had kind of come out through this place of love and understanding and forgiving people in the past who had wronged them and why he needs to change his life. So here's the thing, and I want to harp on something you said. The pastor who's supporting you in this and this love and embracing this and seeing where you were and where you went, all stuff I'm fine with.
Right, cool.
So then you called up the pastor and was like, hey, man of faith.
Yeah. Man of faith.
Yo,
yeah.
I need you to do this. I need you to do this for me.
Man of faith is a good one.
You got to tell this person to get off my. You got to tell him to get out of here. Like, you almost make like the pastor's a hitman now.
Yeah, basically,
word. That's like that's how we. That's how we're rolling.
Yeah,
and that is, and I don't know this pastor, but how many stories have we heard about these men of faith and men of God, these pastors, these priests, these doing all kinds of dirt.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Right?
We
all
don't need
the dirt.
We don't.
The blame is on the people for putting them up on a pedestal.
Right.
Though.
So I
yeah,
mean,
and we don't need to get into the whole Catholic school thing.
Oh,
we are clear.
I was gonna say, and we know. I mean, that's a whole other thing too. But so come on, man. Look, again, the problem here is the way in which this dogmatic approach to religion forces people to conform to a set of beliefs and ideals that they cannot uphold because that's not who they actually are as people. And the thing is, it's okay for you to be whoever you are on that sexuality spectrum. What do I care?
Right. How does it affect your life?
It don't affect my life.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
right. But I want to bring it back before we wrap on this. I want to bring back something Brian asked to you. The effect of Dwight Howard and this and what comes out of this. And the Wizards have been a mess this year. And people I know within that organization have told me just how it's been a soap opera, on and off the court. Soap opera, excuse me, on and off the court. Do you think this affects, Brian kind of alluded to this, do you think it affects Dwight Howard? Do you think it hurts his another job? He's under contract for this year. I think he has a player option or team option for next year. I can't remember.
I will check, but I do know that he's in his 15th season and he is.
Do you think any of this affects him?
34 years
Does this matter?
I do. Unfortunately, I do think it affects him. Look, I think Dwight, just from sort of my, following the league and that sort of thing, Dwight definitely is the type of player that feels criticism more than typical players. So this is gonna bother him for sure. That it's out there. Number one,
player option for $5.6 million for next year.
So I mean, look, he may just exercise that because honestly, as we said, I don't know who's going to bring him back on. Not because he can't play anymore, but because this idea of we don't want this circus, distractions, whatever it is, and the locker room, because GMs will talk to their star players and their top players. Hey, we're thinking about doing X. No one's gonna go on the record and say it, but I bet a lot of those guys are gonna be like, "Nah, we don't want Dwight in here." for a variety of reasons, whatever they mean. So this
that's what Sean Mars did.
This is going to affect him for sure. And again, it is a shame because going back to the original point, this is a shame for this transgender person that they feel so endangered that they can't even. They have to put stuff out there because they can't even go to the police to protect them. One, and two, for Dwight cannot be whoever he is sexually. Because again, why does it matter what people do in their bedroom or in their hotel rooms or in their? Why are we so fascinated by it?
Yeah.
Who cares? It's not you. You're not in there. What do you care? What's going on?
I agree.
I mean, because people love sex. That's
okay,
really what
fine.
it is.
But how does it?
So
affect
do I. But I don't care what somebody else does.
Right. I mean, you my man, but like, I don't care what you and your girl are doing.
I want to know.
I don't either, but it's the same. It's the same reason why people watch porn. Some people.
I hope you're happy. But
I don't care about what porn you're watching. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the equivalent of me being like,
I'm not applying my own sensibilities.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
I'm just saying, like, I don't care specifically. Like, sure, you can like that. You can like to do. Here's my thing. What I care about is, are you hurting anybody else, right?
Yes.
And this is the point I think Jarod and I are making. Like, when this comes to you threatening people, you not caring about humanity, I don't like, tell you what I don't like. I don't like people who are hurting people. Don't like people who are raping women.
Exactly right.
Or men. I don't like people who are hurting kids. Those people I have no respect for. That's when I care. But what somebody does with another adult, that's consensual, to be clear. I have no problem with. Unless you are hurting, like in this situation where it appears that you are threatening another person.
Yeah. Through somebody else.
Through somebody else who's supposed to be a man pastor. Of faith.
A man of the
And I'm going to be real, and I know Jarod may piss some people off with this. For those people who are going to make excuses for that man of faith, y'all need to stop it.
Yeah, for real.
Y'all need to stop right now. Don't make any excuses for that. Don't make any excuses for that. None of that behavior is cool. The threatening on anybody's part isn't cool. And somebody's supposed to be an upstanding member that's counseling, if this is the guy, counseling other professional athletes. Oh, that's how you get down?
I mean, by his own logic, he'd be going to hell. So, does that too.
Yes.
Nah. He's just doing the Lord's work. Backpack Broadcasting continues to bring you the best original sports content, but now you can get more of the content you love. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to bonus content, including behind-the-scenes footage and interviews from the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, or the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. All this exclusive content comes via Patreon. There are tiered levels of patronage, and each Backpack Broadcasting patron receives exclusive perks. Your support helps Backpack Broadcasting create more of the original content that you love. Visit Backpack Broadcasting's Patreon page and become a patron today. Interesting year in the NBA thus far. You said off camera to me before, which I happen to agree with you 100%, but it's probably going to piss people off, especially people in that crowd that think college basketball is better than the NBA.
Oh, boy.
Idiots.
I could confirm that it's not. I was at a couple tournaments last week.
We watched some college the last couple weeks, and
y'all were like, no.
Good games.
Good games. But you're definitely saying a strong no.
Strong no.
Yeah, okay.
Let's keep it real.
You called it the best league in the world. I believe you said that.
I did.
I happen to agree with you. I happen to agree with you. I'm on League Pass every night. I'm watching stuff.
NBA TV.
It's just fantastic.
Yep.
Let's start off with this. One of the narratives you heard before the season was, and not saying that this is necessarily wrong, but the Warriors are going to win this again. The league is boring. There's no intrigue. No. This league has been absolutely interesting this year. Who's in first place? I know the Warriors just went back into first place at the time we recorded this podcast, but the Clippers were in first place the other day. The Grizzlies were in second. Portland. You've got interesting things in the East. Boston hasn't played as good as we thought they were. They're 500.
I got thoughts about that.
People who said Luka Doncic wasn't going to be any good in the draft, you idiots. And Greg, put the camera right here. Let's look at this. All you people who said Luka Doncic was not going to be good, I told you so. I don't care what happens. I told you so. That's all I have to say.
Well, I'm Team Luka here.
I hope that wasn't threatening.
I think we should start with Boston. Jarod, you said you had some thoughts on the
Brian,
the Celtics.
Wait. Are you a Celtics fan?
No.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
Brian's trying to egg me on because he knows, because we'll get into this when we're at, because everyone who knows this, Brian obviously covers the Nets, as do I. So we're at Nets home games all the time, and I'm always talking about basketball in general, but the Celtics. Here is my position on the Celtics. They are a talented roster. Excellent. I think Brad Stevens is a very good coach. What I was not on board with last season was this coronation that Brad Stevens is the greatest coach in the history of basketball.
Oh, I was going to ask the question that I didn't even know he was going to come up. So is Brad Stevens getting off easily here?
Listen, people act like this guy invented the game of basketball. Like, James Naismith, who? I was like, what? First of all, he hasn't won anything yet. So how can you already say he's the best coach when you still have a league with Greg Popovich?
I have a theory.
I just so there's.
Can the church get an amen?
Listen, I know what that theory is. Number one. All
right, we'll leave it there.
I know what it is too.
I know what that theory is. Number two, he is supposedly this genius, right? Because his out of timeout plays are so great, et cetera, et cetera. Look, if you know anything about coaching and you know what goes on, every coach steals from every other coach and they're out of timeout. They may add a little something extra for their own thing, but they all borrow from each other.
Yeah, it's like hip hop. Same thing.
Exactly right. So the mad genius has not figured out a way to have Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Al Horford be a consistent offensive unit. They are dead last in offensive efficiency in the league. Dead last. And they're 10-10 right now. For a team with that much talent, that sounds counterintuitive to me. I don't understand how the great genius Brad Stevens can't figure this out. And my point about all this was it is easy to coach when expectations are low, right? Think about every year that Brad has had with the Celtics. When he first got there, they were getting rid of all the veterans and all that and rebuilding, right? So that the way he coached and that college sort of mentality he brought in, that worked, right? Okay, did that for a couple years. As the young guys started coming in, okay, it was good, but remember last year, Kyrie gets hurt before the playoffs, so he doesn't play in the playoffs, and Gordy's hurt
First game,
two seconds into the game. So the young guys got to play, and he could still coach them a certain way because they were just getting into the league. Yes, Jaylen Brown was year 2 for Jaylen Brown or year 3? Three. So he was still young enough that you can get him to do whatever. Al Horford's the consummate sort of like team guy. He's not that kind of star player with that level of ego, right? And Tatum's like, I just want to be good. You got Rozier and these bench guys who are playing extra minutes, right? Yeah, look at what we're doing. They got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7. Literally a hair away from beating LeBron James and going to the NBA Finals. But again, he outpaced expectations. Nobody thought they were going to do that once those guys were down. This year, it's like, Boston Celtics going to the NBA Finals. A lot different now, Brad, because now Kyrie's back and Gordon's back. And let me tell you something about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving ain't on this team to be nobody's second string, third string, no backup fiddle. Kyrie like, this is my team. I run things here. And Jason Tatum's like, I'm pretty good. I did well.
I love Kobe.
Well,
they both love Kobe,
right? Like, I mean, mama mentality, please. Right? So,
whoa! You anti-mama mentality?
Yes.
We're gonna get off. We're gonna get off that.
Oh, that needs to be an extra topic.
We're gonna get on that in a minute. So, Brad.
No, it doesn't. It needs to be a podcast topic.
Brad has to manage all these egos and expectations and all these things. And listen, heat's turning up over there in Boston, right? And he's doing some things that are baffling to me. He's still not putting his best lineups out there. And I'm like, look, it's a long season, 82 games, but it's like, Brad, you can't wait too long, right? We're 21, 22 games into the season already.
Well, you're turning the heat up on him, but I'm not necessarily sure the national media is turning the heat up on him.
Well,
he's saying they should be.
No.
Yes.
I happen to agree with Jarod 100%, and I actually didn't consider this until my boy kind of texted the same points that you were making just now. That everybody's anointed Brad Stevens is a great coach. People sometimes will say he's the best coach in the league, which is extremely disrespectful to Greg Popovich.
Very disrespectful.
Extremely disrespectful. But I have not seen this written too much anywhere. People are always saying, what's wrong with Boston? Gordon Hayward still has to get healthy, which I do think there's some truth to that.
There's some truth to that.
These guys still don't know their roles coming off last year. I do think there's some truth to that too. But what I think you're saying is, You can't have it both ways, right? You can't anoint this guy as this great genius and say he can do it all. And now when he's got all the pieces together and everybody's relatively healthy for the most part, outside of Gordon Hayward, where's the genius now?
Exactly right.
Genius doesn't get to work sometimes.
That's the thing. Genius is a thing, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we throw that label around way too often. It's the problem, right? We throw it down too much.
This is a podcast topic we had. I don't remember who was it about necessarily. Childish Gambino, of all people.
Yes.
Where people just throw that around way
talented,
too
yes.
much.
Very talented.
Who I love.
You can be great at what you do. I do think Brad Stevens is a good basketball coach, right?
I don't think he's not a good. I think he's a good coach.
You don't have to be a genius right away.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But see, I think people more want to be the first person to say that they said genius, right?
And
like,
that's corny.
And they also want to anoint him specifically for very specific reasons.
He's a young white dude.
Yep.
Damn, Brian, I was gonna build up to it, and you really didn't let me.
Yeah. Brian's not about to build up.
I'm like, yo, bro.
Well, because there is.
That shows,
remember,
that shows why you're a Stay Ready All-Star.
But he's also not just a young white dude, though. He's also somebody who took Butler to consecutive national championship games.
So are you saying that's part? Are you guys saying that's part of his genius narrative?
It wasn't a school in the MEAC. It was Butler. It's very different.
And we can be real about what that means, right? When you coach Butler,
what is a lot of people's favorite basketball movie ever?
Hoosiers.
Yeah.
By the way,
overrated.
Terrible.
Overrated
basketball movie. I think it stinks, personally.
You think it stinks? I would say stinks, but it's overrated.
It's pretty whack, man.
I'm out on it.
It's pretty whack.
Because
you don't get happy when you see that the hickory and the crimson and the gold.
It builds into a myth that certain segment of sports fans love.
We can go back to the time when 5 white guys could be in the court and dominate.
I hate that the Pacers wear those uniforms also. Those look like terrible.
Part of Indiana's tradition. Yo, we asked Grady how he feels about Hoosiers.
Yeah, she asked Grady that.
Damn.
I'm going to have to hit him up about that. I want to know.
I'm going to ask him tonight.
Look, you do some entertainment reporting.
I do.
The Wizards are bringing more drama than TNT right now.
Love it, man. It's great.
They are bringing the drama.
Content for days.
And as I said, people there saying it's like a soap opera down there.
It is.
I look at this team. I thought this before the season. I'm like, you have to break that team up.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
The most tradable asset you probably have is Bradley Beal.
Yes. Because no one wants that John Wall contract. Nobody.
See, I'm not so sure, Jarod. Somebody might be desperate enough
Ryan,
to take
pull up Sportac.
I know what he's making. I know his trade kicker.
And the kicker,
15%.
Shannon Sharp.
Hold on.
Shannon Sharp.
This is the way you think.
Bro, 45 million. Yo.
Here's the thing, though. Hold on. Hear me out. Most teams in the league, right, should not go for John Wall's contract. But there's always somebody that's desperate enough to do something. Two teams I could see doing this. Phoenix.
Oh, I know. Wait, I think you're going to say number 2.
I'm not going to say the Knicks. I was not going to say that. I actually think the Knicks are in a place of actual functionality. I think the Knicks actually are not stupid enough now to do this. I actually think they are doing things the right way. I could see Pat Riley going for this in Miami.
Oh, God.
They want a star. They need a star.
I mean, yeah, because by the time that contract is really kicking in, he's going to be gone probably. Or I don't know, actually.
Who, Pat?
Yeah.
No, Pat's going to be there until he's 1,000 years old.
I could see Miami going for him.
What do they have to offer? Bam Adebayo, Josh
Richardson.
Is that all it's going to take?
But if I'm the Wizards, I'm like, I'll do that.
Goran Dragic?
They're not giving up Goran.
They probably would have to give up Goran in that deal.
I mean, they would.
If I were the Wizard, I'd do that deal.
Here's the thing, right? So obviously, your ceiling, John Wall's ceiling is obviously much higher, right? Clearly. But, I mean, the floor of John Wall is...
Well, injuries and stuff like this.
Whereas Goran Dragic, I know what I'm getting night to night from Goran Dragic, right? Like, and sometimes you wonder... Is it the consistency of the floor versus the potential of the ceiling, right? Where do you stand on that? Yeah, we've seen... I mean, John Wall is an all-star guard, but his athleticism is starting to decline a little bit, if you're noticing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So that's a problem. He still cannot shoot. Your primary ball handler can't be a non-shooter.
Yep. Not a good pull-up guy from 3.
I can't believe we're at the point where Bradley Beal is seen as a better player.
But
he is.
But Bradley
he's been a better player.
And I was going to say, and is, guys.
Yes.
And is, yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy to
But
me.
he's also your most tradable asset, which
Yes.
is why you have to move him.
He's the one you got to move.
You have to. You could probably move Otto Porter, even though he makes a lot of money. But he's young enough that somebody will take a flyer on him.
I'm not oohing that contract.
Not because I think Otto's great, but I think Otto's criminally underused in Washington.
I happen to agree.
And I think a change of scenery
Could be good for him.
Otto is your prototypical 3-and-D guy. I know where. Yes,
You
Brooklyn.
know where that change of scenery
no.
could be.
Wait, where is he on the contract right now?
He's gonna make for the
This
next
is year
3
2 of the 5-year deal.
For the next 3 years, he's gonna get 25, 26, and 25, something like that. 24, 25.
That's
26.
that's not quite a max. So
that is a fit that works, and that is look. The Nets offered Otto Porter more disincentives in any offer sheet than they offered any of those guys. Tyler Johnson, Alan Crabb, Otto Porter. He was the one that they wanted the most. So I could actually see that happening. But that contract, bro, I feel like you can sign Tobias Harris for something a little bit less than that.
You think Tobias is better than Otto Porter?
Yes, way better.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
I do think he's better than Otto Porter.
Because Otto Porter, as much as he is a great 3-point shooter, he's not one-dimensional, but Tobias Harris, Tyler is his brother. Tobias Harris can do more offensively.
Okay. You think, but Tobias is going to want a max, though, no?
If I were him, I would want one, but I don't know if he's even going to get one, even though he is in a career year. He is in the prime of his career, and you'd be paying for the prime of his career.
That's what I'm saying.
All those things sort of work in his favor, but then when you're looking at guys like, I mean, this is a deep free agent class.
It's a great free agent class.
Yeah, in terms of, I saw a stat this morning that said, I think 49% of the players could be free agents next year.
Yes, that's it.
And this is a great
Which
class.
is half of the league, and you're talking about, but Tobias Harris is still in that second tier.
Yeah,
after Jimmy Butler, who shouldn't be in that first tier,
Right.
because I'm not paying.
No,
a
Jimmy.
lot of
Put
money
Jimmy.
for-
I'm going to put Jimmy in that Tobias Harris class because
Yeah.
look, take out Durant. Like just he's out. Like those guys. Like the elite guys, take them out. The rest of that free agent group is incredible. We were talking about this. Nico Mirotic is a free agent. People forgetting about that. I love Nico.
I do, too.
I do love Nico.
I do.
And you know where I want him? I want him in Brooklyn because I
Yeah.
think that would be a nice keep him at the 4. You got Jarod Allen at the 5. You know I want Chris Middleton at 3. I don't think we're gonna get Chris because he might stay with Milwaukee because of Giannis. But
But I like Chris Middleton.
ooh,
That would be a good offseason for Brooklyn. They did
you
that.
kidding? You got
Oh,
that?
God, that'd be great.
With a healthy
the
Karras?
the fans wouldn't get that excited, but that'd be great.
Western Conference. We talked about this on the last podcast. Are you concerned at all about the Warriors, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant beef? I'm not really that concerned about it. I think they're fine. I do think Kevin Durant's going to be out, but I think they're fine.
I am not that concerned about it.
Do you care about it?
Not really. I mean, look, I care about it from the standpoint of it's great content for us. So
Draymond Green is on my damn fantasy team.
and you know,
I have him on injured
Steph
now.
Curry, too. He's been injured.
And
I
you
have
know,
him on
I'm
injured with Chris Dunn. I'm waiting on Chris Dunn.
And you know, I'm a KD guy, so like, you know, whatever. Look, the Warriors are the Warriors when they are clicking on all cylinders and they put everybody on the floor together. And let's not forget, DeMarcus Cousins had not even played a game yet. This team is legit. When they are at their peak, you cannot beat them. It's just how it is. Now, what I will say is, and this is something that I've talked about on my podcast, a little plug for 7 Footers with my homegirl Jenna.
Yes.
Dynasties are a fragile thing, okay? Because
Especially now.
yeah, well, because mainly you get there and you're winning, and the winning is not what you thought it was going to be. And Pat Riley talked about this, the disease of more, right? You're like, well, we're doing all right, we're doing this thing, but then now guys want to get paid. This one wants to be the man, blah. Because there's only one place to go for you when you're at the top of the NBA mountain, and that's down.
Down.
All right? There's no higher thing than the NBA championship. All you can do is keep winning more. But yo, this is work for these guys, is what I always say. Your coworkers get annoying sometimes. And when you play late into June, every year these guys have been playing, they're annoying, right? Like, and Draymond is that kind of guy, like Chris Paul. He's the type of player that when you mess up, he's going to let you know about it and be real loud and be in your face. When he messes up, like he did by not passing the ball to KD, he don't like it, and now he wants to get petty and get personal. And it's the thing I find hilarious is, well, Draymond, you were the one that called him up crying when y'all lost the finals to say to come here.
Come here, man.
Right, so don't be all whatever about it. It is what it is. They're gonna work past it and be fine. I do agree with you, and I said this at the beginning of the year. I knew he was going to be out. I think this thing for Kevin was about, he thought winning titles would get people off my back. It didn't. Okay? So now he's like, okay, I've got to figure something else out.
That's
here.
very true. It did.
Right?
It really didn't.
And mind you,
people just dislike him more.
And mind you, this is the man that was a back-to-back finals MVP who, when the game, because as much as the Warriors won those series easily, those were close games, right?
He hit the big shots.
In situations that matter, he scored, and not just the big shots. He scored at will over a motivated LeBron James. Look, as great as Steph Curry is, and you and I talk about this, and I think he's great, Kevin Durant is an unstoppable, unguardable player just because of his size and what he does, right? So he deserved those finals MVPs, arguably the first or second best player in the league, whatever, however you want to break it down. But it's still not enough for people. And for nuanced basketball fans, they see that, but fans don't. And I think for him, unfortunately, he cares more about that opinion versus the opinion of nuanced people who understand and know the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't talk to any legend or anybody who talks about the game who are not like, oh, Kevin. I mean, I had a conversation with George Gervin 2 summers ago. He's like, LeBron's great, best player in the league, but Kevin Durant, man, that guy. Like, so all these people know, but for whatever reason, that's not good enough for him.
The reason is probably just the oversaturation of people's opinions.
Yes, that are constantly
that he
in your
cares too
face.
much about on
Yeah,
Twitter
because it's like you get more of those than
Yes.
you get like Rachel Nichols,
Right.
Ramona Shelburne,
Right.
People who matter.
Right, because those are the people who matter, and
Yeah.
they know, oh, this is the dude, and it's also who he is as a person, right? We talked about Dwight being sensitive, so is Kevin.
Kevin's very sensitive.
And I think the problem that everyone has with that is he goes against the grain of what we are conditioned to believe an athlete of his caliber is supposed to be like. Someone who's as good as he is, which is either the first or second best player in the world, should not be this sensitive, right? Because everyone before him who was that good was not this
But
sensitive.
I kind of like that. Something different. In a way, I do.
Yeah, but
it's
that's
who-
what-
it's
but
who he is.
But
And he's just being-
again,
I kind of like that about
But
him.
going back to the Mamba mentality, people think that you have to approach it like Kobe,
Yes.
where it's like, oh, I don't have any friends.
Right.
I just care about winning championships. I don't care what anybody
Look,
says about me.
I
this,
like
this, and
I
that.
like
Not
them.
everyone
It's
has
like
to be that
No,
way.
right. And there's many different ways to win. Not everybody has to be a certain way. I'm with that, and I can appreciate Kevin Durant, while I can also appreciate Kobe. As hard as that might be for some of the Kobe stands out there,
Right.
it's possible
Yes.
to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
Dexter,
yeah.
you are
And-
you are a nuanced fan. See, you're adding nuance and perspective. You don't got time for that on the Twitter era. This ain't
No.
about nuance and
They
perspective.
don't. It's like, yo,
Well,
you
that's why-
either down with Mamba mentality or no.
Well, that's why
die.
that's why Dexter doesn't tweet that much.
Because I can't get what I really want to say
Right.
out
Yeah.
in terms of that. Like if I
That's why you just got to post clips, post
Yeah,
podcast clips.
If I
Just keep it
you want to
moving.
hear what I really think, come listen to my podcast. You want to hear what Jarod really
Right.
thinks?
Yeah.
Read his articles.
Right.
Go
listen
listen
to
to
me on
Seven Footers
podcast, or listen to me
podcast.
on, as I guess that's when I can really dive deep.
Yeah.
I don't have time for this. Like, I'll get into it with fans, but I'm like, okay, y'all, we can't have. A
I always
conversation
get
on
to a
here.
certain point where I'm like, all right,
I'm done.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
No
just
mas.
you just can't.
Shout out to
But Golden
Roberto
State,
Duran.
I'm not worried about them. I think when everybody comes back healthy, they're going to be fine. I do expect them to win the title. This will be their hardest championship of the three.
Now, with it being their hardest, and you've seen how competitive the West looks,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's not as top heavy as the East. But when you look at the West, there's some teams that are surprising people. You got Portland up there. You got Memphis up there. Who had Memphis? If you did, I don't believe
Jaron
I did.
Jackson Jr.
I did.
you did.
No.
No, you didn't. I didn't think so.
I'm very high on my
who
comment,
else am
though.
I forgetting? Clippers.
Yeah.
Sacramento, who's
Yo,
like right
just last night, they took the Warriors
where's-
down to the
point.
buzzer.
Yeah. It's-
I'm not buying their
For
stuff.
all the people that say the NBA has been interesting,
yet,
there's
not
been
yet.
there's been a lot of interest in that, especially in the West. Do you buy any of these teams? We just talked about Portland. People probably had them
Nope.
falling off out of the playoffs.
Nope.
No. Memphis.
Golden State is winning again.
No.
hold
You
on.
see, but you don't even know. I'm just asking if you buy them as playoff teams. I wasn't asking if you buy them as
Oh,
Yes,
I
yes.
buy,
Competing.
I buy Portland.
Portland is a playoff
As
team, yes.
Yeah.
Memphis.
Memphis.
Yes.
I'm afraid because of the injury history of Connolly and Gasol.
Defensively, they're so
they're
good.
so good. But if
Yeah.
one of those two guys goes down, it's a wrap. You
Here's
know
the
that.
thing.
And they
Here's-
get to the line a lot.
But
They're
if-
offensively, they're
I have
not-
a question.
Yes.
Am I allowed to buy 12 teams as playoff teams? Because I
No,
can't,
no.
I can't decide on the other.
No. First of all, Gerard, we went through this last year. We tried to pick 5, best
Yeah.
5 hip hop albums of the
Yeah.
year, which we will do again
Okay.
and putting out in December. And this guy has to be like, yo, can I do 10? I got like 5 and like five honorable mentions.
I had a big like 3-way tie in one of them.
Nah, I was like, yo, get out of here, man.
He had all Freddie Gibbs out, mixtapes.
Yep. That's what he would do.
Freddie Gibbs was second.
Shockingly.
Album of the year was Joey Badass.
Shockingly. Wow. Very shocking. We'll see how it plays out this year.
What year did Malibu come out?
2016, which he had as we weren't doing a podcast then, but he had his album of the year. Yes.
I thought.
Did you listen to Oxnard?
I did not.
Okay, we'll circle back with you.
Well,
on
I'm sure
that we'll circle back.
But
with you
okay, so the reason why I asked that though is because there are a bunch of teams who I could buy potentially as playoff teams. I don't know if I can get it down to 8 right now because I really like
decisions.
I like Memphis so far. Right?
Do you like them as a playoff team?
Ah,
I take that as a no.
I'm going no.
We'll take that as a no. Clippers.
The playoff team? No.
Do you say no? Do you like the Clippers more than you like Memphis?
Nope. I think I do slightly. I know Memphis is more
bench is really good.
I know. I think about the Clippers are everyone knows their role in that team and knows who and what they are.
I buy them more as a playoff team.
Yes, I like them.
Memphis is doing some things I don't think is sustainable offensively.
Clippers are
like
deeper.
They're getting to the line at a high rate. They don't shoot the ball that well.
Yeah, I'm worried about the shooting.
But Jaren Jackson looks really good.
I like Jaren Jackson.
They're really good defensively. It wouldn't shock me if they're in the playoff hunt down to the last 10 seasons, but I'm not buying them yet. Clippers, yeah. Portland, we buy as a playoff team?
Yes.
Here's my thing about Portland. Yes, I'm buying them and I love them.
They're probably one and done though because
and think about the playoffs with them, and I say this to you all the time. When your two main offensive guys are little people, and little is a right.
Yeah, they're both. I got what they're 6'3".
Right, they're taller than me, but they're little in NBA land.
Y'all can't be calling nobody.
Right. They're taller than me, but they're little in NBA land.
I could if I'm standing next to Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, that's about how it gets.
So when you rely on small guys as your engine in the playoffs, it's hard.
I'm taller than Spud Webb.
You are, but there's a lot.
I'm about eye level with Nate Robinson. I got his autograph when I was 16.
Yeah, these are things that makes Brian feel good. There's a lot of concern about their size. Have to do with what we saw happen to them in the playoffs last year against New Orleans, where they just blitzed these guys, trapped them, put a lot of size in Drew Holiday and the guys.
And also their best big man is Nurkic.
And Nurk is not Jokic, right? If he was Jokic, I'd be like, all right, but he's not.
It would help if your best player who is over 6 foot is actually like Jokic, as we mentioned, or somebody who's really good,
but
almost on the level of Lillard and McCollum. Then you'd really be in business.
But because Nurkic ain't that.
Yeah, and because they don't have that prevents me from seeing them being more than a one and done team, which leads me to believe that maybe if things get spiraling out of control, they could probably blow that up at some point. Because it's kind of like banging your head against the wall. They've
been staunch about not trading McCollum, which is
I know, but it's been banging your head against the wall and expecting the same results. If
I was just gonna say that.
If you're one and done again, not even right now, I would be doing this if I'm LeBron. But especially if they're one and done again, I'm like, yo, what y'all want for Damian Lillard?
CJ goes to the Wizards, and you get Bradley Beal in Portland.
Wait, how you guys not talking
that
about
trade has kind of been.
I don't know
for some time. I don't know if that helps either team.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, Bradley's 6'6". You got a bigger 2-guard.
He's not 6'6".
Yeah, he is.
Bradley
6'5", 6'6".
I thought he was 6'4".
No, he's taller.
What?
6'4".
He's bigger. The bottom line, he's bigger than McCollum.
He's bigger than McCollum.
Yeah, well, I think that's the point here.
Yeah,
he's bigger than McCollum and can guard more positions than McCollum can.
Check him out.
6'5", 207.
Yeah.
You guys haven't talked about Kemba Walker yet?
Oh, man,
Kemba's so good.
Free
Kemba.
My fantasy MVP so far.
Fantasy MVP and deserves some votes.
And I have LeBron James too.
Kemba's probably top 5 MVP right now. No.
Yeah, he's balling.
He's first.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I think he's first.
But here's the thing.
What's Charlotte's record though?
I don't care. From the
but
literal,
you have to care.
from the literal definition of most
valuable
player.
I'm all about and so okay. Let me kind of support Brian's point, right? Because I'm the big person when it comes to the literal. I like more of the literal definition.
They're
of
9-9. They're 6 in the East.
You take him off that team, they are probably
2 and whatever.
They're 2-14
or whatever.
They're the Hawks. They're the Atlanta Hawks.
They're the Hawks, right?
They're worse than the Hawks.
When I watch this team though. And I watched him play OKC the other night, and Kemba and Russ was going at it, and I'm like, well, damn man, this guy needs some help.
Who are you taking, Kemba or Russ?
Ooh.
I'm taking Russ. I'm a big Russ guy. I'm taking Russ. And I like how Russ has been playing this year. I actually like how he's been playing this year. He's been attacking more.
I'm doing all that, but you know I'm taking Kemba.
See, Brian, Brian tried to get me to slander Russ on the pod. Is really what he's trying to do.
Not really.
No, because Brian will do that himself.
It's not slandering Russ. I just prefer. I told you, in terms of if I'm starting a franchise, I just prefer Kemba's game to Russell Westbrook.
You know why I like Russell Westbrook? Because he got that Mamba mentality.
Yeah,
I knew you were good.
But he
I'm
gets
good on
injured.
that. I'm good on that. So good on that.
I'm good
I'll
on
make
his inefficient shooting self. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
I like that. He got that Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Though.
Deep twos. Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
they're
All
going
them
to tell you.
deep
He got that Mamba mentality.
See, and that's why he wants to trade Jason Tatum for Anthony Davis. Is because the Mamba mentality leads you
Deep
to
twos.
take turnaround fadeaways from 22 feet out, which is only worth 2 points.
It don't matter. When you hit it, you could just yell Kobe. It don't matter. That's all you
Yo,
got.
Dexter's getting a lot better at this trolling, man.
You mentioned Jeannie Buss. The Lakers, who've been playing well as of recently, they've kind of been on a roll. Look like they're getting their things in order. Still don't have a lot of shooting. They're only like a game out of first, even though they're sitting in seventh. That's how crowded the West is.
Crazy.
Do you think they're trending the right way? LeBron has been playing out of his mind.
And he has to.
Yeah, he does with this
which
squad.
kind of concerns me. I don't know if it concerns you, but yeah, how do you feel about Lakers?
I like how LeBron's playing with this squad right now, but all he's doing right now is getting them to play well so these guys can audition for trade bait. Because let's be honest, these dudes, the majority of these dudes in this roster
Come
ain't
back,
gonna,
Kyle
ain't
Korver, I
gonna
miss
be
you.
here, right? He knows he needs shooting. So it'd be funny if Julius Randle found his way back onto the Lakers, who by the way is having a very good season in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I thought
I
they should have kept Brooke Lopez. I'm
I
watching him
thought
do
so
his
too.
thing in Milwaukee now. I
They
think
could use a Brooke Lopez.
They
Yeah.
need a shooter, and they also
Yeah.
need a big shooter.
These guys are auditioning, and
Bradley Beal to the Lakers.
Bradley Beal.
So I asked my
Beal,
boy. I
CJ,
said,
Damian
would you?
Lillard.
I said, would you do Kuzma or Ingram, and Lonzo Ball with a pick to the Wizards for Bradley Beal?
that's too much.
Not Ingram, but Kuzma. Yeah,
That's a lot.
Kuzma. Wait, what was Kuzma?
Kuzma or Ingram? Take
Ingram
your pick of
and
either
Lonzo.
one.
Kuzma,
With
Lonzo, and a
Lonzo.
first
Ingram
for Bradley
and
Beal.
Lonzo.
Yeah,
Done.
I don't think that's too much.
Done.
Ingram and Lonzo is enough.
I think Kuzma is.
I didn't
what
say
he-
Kuzma. I want to be clear. I did not say Kuzma and Ingram. It's
Kuzma
Kuzma
or
or
Ingram.
Ingram.
I think Kuzma is what he is, and I still think Ingram is sort of in that D'Angelo Russell phase where the highs look great, but you still are not really sure.
You
if
would
he's
do
gonna
the
get
deal.
there.
That's why you trade Ingram.
So
No. I don't trade Ingram. I trade Kuzma. Kuzma is what
you
he
do the
is
deal?
to me.
I think I move Ingram.
I do.
Ingram and
I do.
Lonzo.
Because if I think if I move Ingram, I may not have to include Ball if I move Ingram.
Well, you also talked about the Lakers. These guys just.
But why
playing-
would you wait? You want to keep Lonzo Ball? Yeah, I'm good.
might.
I'm cool. I'm good on that.
Okay.
I feel like I know he is what.
Or
what
should
he
the
is
Lakers?
now,
Or should the
too.
Lakers? If you're saying that it looks like a lot of these guys audition to be traded, but should the Lakers maybe just wait till the offseason, see if they can sign a Kawhi, see if they can sign a Klay Thompson?
You could
this
do
is-
both. I think you could do both.
This is something that I've talked to Brian about, and I've said before. How many?
We talk a lot, guys. In case you didn't realize that.
Don't
How
stop
many-
talking to Brian too much. I'm not sure it's necessarily good for your life.
I mean, yes, he's infuriating. So that's true.
Well, you do the podcast should be.
Yeah,
so that-
I'm not sure it's
so
good for
that-
my life. Just like being a Knicks fan, I'm not sure it's
How
good for my
many?
life.
How
either.
many top tier free agents?
Dexter likes pain.
Legitimately, well, listen, as a Knicks fan, that's all you know. how many top tier free agents legitimately want to come to LA to play with LeBron? Like seriously.
But that's a fair question. I don't know.
Because
think-
especially if you're a young guy coming to your own, let's for instance use Anthony Davis, right? He's younger than LeBron. This is a guy who's now ready to be. He said at the beginning of the season to Rachel Nichols, "I think I'm the best player in the NBA." Rachel goes, "I love the confidence, AD. You know, there's a guy named LeBron James and Kevin Durant in this league. He's like, and they're great players, but I think I impact the game on both ends." And so he's very confident. If I'm AD.
I think I know where you're going.
Do I want to come to the Lakers and everything is still going to be about LeBron? We win, it's LeBron. We lose, hey AD, what'd you think about da-da-da-da? Why didn't you do X, Y, and Z? What? It's all LeBron. Do I want that if I'm Anthony Davis?
Fair question.
Where I thought you were going to go was that more of these players, and I feel like you were leading up to this anyway, but more of these players that see themselves on that level or better than LeBron are probably just going to be like, yo, I can make my own team where I could be the guy, which is sort of what Kyrie Irving wanted in initiating that trade, right?
And
So-
Kyrie ain't as good as AD, right? So, I mean, but like,
yeah,
that's the thing.
I still think like, my guess is that, like, with the Rich Paul thing, I feel like he'll find his way to the Lakers in the offseason at some point. But I just don't know necessarily if they're not willing to pair up with LeBron also, because if you pair up with LeBron, these are his last few seasons anyway, quote unquote. So you're going to win, and then you could probably be the man after. Anthony Davis is young enough where that is possible. But do you really want to wait 3 whole extra seasons for that to happen?
Because nothing's promised, right?
Yeah.
I could wait,
And
and
Anthony
then
Davis
I
is
get
someone-
hurt, and then
He's been hurt.
right. So then and I never get it. So
Yeah.
maybe
So
not.
maybe you go get it's going to be
And no
interesting to see.
guarantee Kawhi comes back home. Listen, preseason I picked Toronto to come out of the East and play the Warriors in the finals. How good are the Raptors looking right now?
Real good.
And
So-
I think with Philly, I think Jimmy Butler could stay there.
Yeah.
It seems like that.
It's gonna be really interesting offseason.
And we even talking about Milwaukee. God, Milwaukee's playing so well.
Yeah, it shows you what
I saw them last night. Against
shows you
Spurs.
what having a real coach can do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, lastly before we get you out of here, I want to ask
Damian
Jarod
Lillard
this.
to the Lakers.
That wouldn't be a bad move.
That'd be good.
And he's
That
from-
wouldn't be bad.
He's
that
from
wouldn't be a
Cali,
bad,
right?
He's from Oakland.
Oakland, yep.
He's from Oakland.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad move
I like
at all.
that. I like that.
One of the things we were trying to have initially somebody else with you on this, and we wanted to talk about these ridiculous NBA arguments because we sometimes get into the stuff, and Brian was mentioning this to me, just things people bring up sometimes. We get just like, man, how is this even a question?
This is stupid.
Yes. You're like, how is this even a question? Jarod, what is the most ridiculous NBA argument you have heard, maybe relating something this season that you were just like, what are you you were like, how is this even a question?
Ridiculous NBA arguments. Wow.
We're gonna eventually have a whole podcast on this.
Kobe being better than Kevin Durant.
You know,
So we touched on this.
Because we were talking about this a lot
okay.
too.
You know, yeah.
I don't think
okay.
that, but see, I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to discuss.
So
Maybe it's a discussion, but I feel like KD is obviously better.
here's the ridiculous argument that I have always with people. And the ridiculous argument is people not understanding the difference between someone being more accomplished versus someone being a better objective basketball player. Just strictly talent, skill.
Oh, like Nas and Jay-Z?
No, you're
Damn, bro.
That's not even the same.
Damn, man.
That's not even the same.
Brian, bring it. See, you're trying to get people riled up out here in these streets.
These streets. I'll get into that in another podcast.
Out here in these
I'll
podcast
get into that.
streets.
Do we want to get into championship predictions at this point? We're a quarter of the way there.
What,
No,
NBA?
no.
Oh. I mean, I made my preseason
You kind of
already,
said
so I already said mine. Yeah.
you said it. You said
mine.
you still think the Warriors are going to win, so we don't have to go back into that.
I like Giannis for MVP though.
I said Kawhi beginning of the season, so
and I think I said AD.
you did.
I mean,
I believe that's it.
We're all
I
looking
mean
good.
those are three
I think it's Kemba right now, though.
solid.
To Greg's point.
Kemba's record's not good enough, so he
Don't care.
okay.
Don't
But
care.
I know you don't care,
Most
but
valuable. Most valuable.
but the voters are not gonna.
Oh no, I
on a
agree,
team
but I'm
who's,
just talking. I'm
you know,
talking about me.
By the way-
I think to not care about the record. I'm not saying I disagree with the way you're voting.
Wait,
I
I-
agree with the way you're voting.
I do have a question though.
But I think most people are only going to vote for somebody with a not first or second best record unless they have an amazing statistical
Yeah.
season like
Is-
Westbrook did.
Yes.
The year he won it, where he deserved to win it.
Is there a rule like in baseball you have to be a writer for 10 years to get?
I
the
was just
MVP
gonna
vote?
say NBA. Yo, when can I get my MVP voted?
Yeah,
Am I-
you got.
Yeah, Greg.
They don't. They don't want to let you in.
I want to know because like we in there.
Yeah, we
But
in
see,
there.
but see, I think as thinkings change and people get younger and they actually have some diversity in some sports writing, baseball, which maybe you should do. You can start
And college basketball.
College basketball. You can start kind of changing the votes. Look at DeGrom winning Cy
Cy
Young
Young,
this year
yeah.
because people started not overvaluing wins and start
Wins.
valuing ERA more.
Yeah.
Things will change over time as
Because
you get different thought
talked
And
about
processes.
quality
in there.
starts too.
We talked
Yep.
about this the other day. I would love to see the change for the All NBA team selections instead of 2 forwards, 2 guards, and a center.
Yo,
how
just
about
give me
the
the 5
5
best
best guys?
guys.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, if you pick the 5 best guys, you're gonna have a big, you're gonna have tall wings, and you're going to. If you pick the 5 best guys, you'll have a team that you can actually put out that can play basketball.
And this also will help people with their contracts and the incentives they have in there. I am all for that.
And let me just say this because I know we're about to wrap. To your point, basketball is more positionless now, and it dawned on me a lot the other day when I received a text from someone who doesn't watch basketball like that, and they asked me what a small forward was, and they asked me like, what is it that they do in particular, and I was like, you know what? It kind of depends. It kind of depends on every team.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing you could kind of define is like, all right, your center's your biggest player and things like that. Your point guard's supposed to, but really, it's very positionless now. Like you could argue that power forwards no longer exist.
I mean, Nico Mitchell's a power forward.
Yeah,
Right,
but he shoots threes.
But in terms of like what we know from a power forward, from a traditional Karl Malone sense, that's pretty much done. Otherwise, Jahlil Okafor would be getting playing time right now.
That's right.
Yeah,
And he's not.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. We talked a lot of good NBA stuff.
But
here.
remember, Golden State is winning the championship over and over and over again, and I'm messing this up.
I am not a fan of that ding. I do not like the ding.
That was an accident.
You know,
I'm glad.
And again and again and again.
That's how often Golden State is going to be winning the championship.
That's JJ, yeah?
She'll be in New York this week.
She will be.
You know I will be there.
Think about Golden State is, if Durant leaves, as we predicted they will, they'll still be a contender, but Durant makes them basically a surefire, a guarantee we're going to win.
Where do you think Durant's going?
New York.
Shut up.
I mean, look.
Cutting that one.
Listen, the Knicks, whatever. I would love to see him.
I have reasons.
You got reasons to shut up.
Greg, share this.
You have reasons to shut up.
You know where I'd love to see him?
I have a lot of reasons.
I'd love to see him in New York, but not the Knicks. I'd love to see him in Brooklyn.
Greg.
I would.
All right.
What do you think?
You really want the reasons?
Yeah. What's your reason
so
for Kevin Durant going to the Knicks?
If
I
you
think
win,
I know what he's saying.
if you win another chip, so that's gonna be 3 in Golden State, right?
Yeah.
How long will it be? How long is it gonna be until it's boring? Because you look at the last time they won a chip.
Oh, it's boring right now.
It's boring now.
Yeah, but you look at the last time they won a chip, he didn't even know how to celebrate. He's just like, all right, you got another one, right?
He's like, I guess I got to come back next year.
Yeah.
Yo,
you got another one.
I hope that doesn't happen professionally when you get to a certain point.
On the
It's like-
parade, he got this.
Yeah.
Kerr was like, "Oh, this is still Steph's team."
Yeah,
I know
Bob.
he's joking, but it's
Bob.
like
Bob was joking. It was like, not. Yeah.
you talk about Kevin Durant being sensitive. He's gonna take that into consideration.
That's true. That's a good point.
Draymond, right?
Yeah.
They said that he has the same alert at Madison Square Garden that LeBron has to LA and Staples Center. That's another point. And if you win it on there and you see all the criticism you're still getting by still winning, you're gonna want to do it on your own team.
Well, if he comes here, I'm not talking about KD.
Another
to Knicks.
point.
I refuse
One
to
more
talk
point,
about
and
it.
it's probably
Yes.
not even like the best point, but he has a show on YouTube where he's mentoring young kids, young high school basketball players how to play the game, and like he watches the tape with them, and he like, these are things you should do and things like that. The Knicks, all young players. KP's coming back. You got a lot of guard depth. You got another pick coming. I mean, it's
The only thing I'm
It's a
concerned
perfect
about
setup.
in New York is
the media.
he owned. Well, yeah, that he. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
media.
Kev, if I talk to him, I'd be like, yo, dog,
Relax.
This media is legit. You got to learn how to just chill with them. Like that. Just Frank gonna be talking smack about you.
I'll tell you what he won't
let
be
it
saying
ride.
in New York. He ain't gonna be like, you're not gonna ask me that question.
Right? Yeah. You can't
He
say
ain't gonna
that.
say
You
that
got-
in New York.
You got to just let some stuff ride. It just
got-
is what it is. My fear though is that that's not enough basketball wise to lure him here.
Yeah.
Because who's the other high quality? Because you see now, you can't win with just one superstar dude. That ain't enough.
He loves KP, and KP is, I think, him and KP. I'm not even gonna talk
No,
about
David
get excited. They would.
David
Coming off injury, I don't know how he's gonna be. Like we haven't seen him yet, and
We'll see. That's why I say revisit. I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna talk about it, man.
Yo,
I'm
B,
not
if
gonna
they
talk about it.
if he goes to the Knicks, man, that'd be good for us as Nets fans. Well, people leaving like are beaten and want me to have more. You think?
Yeah.
So go back to nobody caring about the Nets again.
No, they got a hidden free agency, like Brian said, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, that's
they got
true
rid of
too.
him.
Then
No,
you get a
because
rivalry
like
guy.
for example, all right, they were recording this Sunday, right, when they're playing the 76ers. I'm sure
We're gonna
there's
be there in a few hours.
there's-
Can't wait.
There's gonna be a lot of people at that game.
Philly fans.
And I noticed
Well,
that
media,
I
more
noticed that in one of the first games of the season, it might have been Golden State, the home
It was
game, where
Golden,
I went up to Jarod. Were you there?
That was
Yeah, I went up to Jarod. Oh yeah, because Steph Curry. Yeah, we went viral that day. Holla.
Holla.
But what's it called? Even though going viral is massively overrated, but we could get into that next time.
Dwight Howard might disagree with that, but yeah.
But with,
Hey, now.
but with Golden State, I saw the sheets, I saw the seats and everything, and I just walked into the room and I was like, bro, I ain't ready for this Nets team to be good.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is gonna be like this every game.
Yeah. It's
Peace.
just like
Nah,
It's
not
fun.
ready for
It's
that.
fun when they're good.
I
Man.
mean, when the
I mean, no, it's gonna be better for me professionally, but let me adjust a little bit more and grow gradually with the team. Remember, I got there covering them, guys, because if people think I work for the Nets, I don't.
All right.
Wish we got paid like we did, though. But what's it called? And that's not on Nets Daily. That's a whole other story. But what's it called? I want them to be good. I got there in the same time Kenny did. I want them to be good, obviously, because it would help. But
Yeah.
like, we can get there gradually. You know
Hey,
what I'm saying?
and it's about this summer. Look, all jokes aside, I guess I love KD in Brooklyn, but they hit this summer. Look, I say it again. I'll say it before I'll say it again. I love Nico, and you're turning me around on Tobias if Chris Middleton doesn't come. Like, listen, a Tobias 3 and a Nico at the 4 with Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, and
Karis
Karis
LeVert.
LeVert. That is a playoff team, no doubt,
That's a fun team too,
and a
with
good
youth
playoff team.
And guy in Tobias Harris who's gotten better every year. I'll take that. I'm not going to talk about that guy possibly coming to the Knicks. If it happens, Ooh.
New York's gonna be out of control, man.
You might not see me for a while.
And the thing is, if he
Where the hell were you gonna be?
Watching every Knicks game.
if he
Yo, I'm gonna be on like a plane of excitement that you haven't seen me on in so long that you're not gonna be. I'm not gonna be able to record.
I'm gonna take one of the Gotham
last
mics.
thing I'll say. Last thing I'll
Sneak
say.
it over to Dexter.
You know what'll happen if he does come to New York, and they win the title. That adoration that he's seeking, he gonna get it in droves.
He'll be icon.
And Melo gonna be hating.
Droves.
And Melo gonna be hating
because because for some people, again, people lack nuance. That one Knicks title is gonna be worth all them Golden State titles.
Well, that was my theory as to
that the Cavs title.
But that was my theory as to why LeBron should come to New York at some point. But it was never enticing enough for him to do.
If whoever wins here after the drought they've had is going to be a legend,
icon,
and
legend.
It doesn't need to be at the Garden. I'm just gonna say that much.
It needs to be at the Garden.
It
absolutely needs to be at the Garden. Let's not get. Please not act like the places are the same.
It's got to be the Mecca.
No. I'm not saying the places are the same, but I'm saying a title for that team will hold a lot of weight too. Will hold more than the regular championship.
Wait, a title for Brooklyn, you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, it would be huge, but not as huge as a title for
No. I'm saying that, but it will hold a lot of weight.
But
also.
yeah.
And there's debate as to who's going to get there first, and there's debate as to whether or not that will happen in any of our lifetimes as well.
Oh yeah,
the Nets are more poised to get there first because given they have more space, more salary cap space, they look.
Was it you that said that told? I think it was you.
Oh, if I die, that you should like go and bet on the Knicks the next year. Absolutely.
That's wild, man.
Absolutely.
We don't.
Absolutely.
If I got to choose between Dexter being alive and a Knicks title, I'm gonna take you being alive, brother. Let's just.
That probably means no Knicks title.
No face, man.
Ian Begley said on the podcast when a fan asked him when are the Knicks ever going to get a title, he's like, I might be dead first.
I might be dead first. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I mean, the next year you bet too is if like Dolan sells the team, then you bet too. You bet that
ain't never happening.
Yeah, but that's not happening too. All right, that's it. We want to thank our guest Jarod Hector for coming on, talking basketball.
Always.
Everything. You can catch his work on Black Sports Online. You can
show.
also catch him with Jenna Lemoncelli on the 7 Footers podcast. They do a great job. Gerard, we're going to have you came back so quickly.
I appreciate it,
quicker
man.
than we expected.
I love it.
But we are going to have you back. I know people are going to want this. We do plan on doing a basketball-only conversation centered around some of the ridiculous topics that we talked about.
We're going to do that.
We're going to have other people here with Gerard.
I got some more conversations because I got some thoughts about Larry Bird.
I feel like
we might need to have 3 people again.
Yeah, we might have a couple people here, and we need to get deeper into the whole Stanisms that people have.
I have Larry Bird thoughts that I'd love to share.
Hoosiers is an overrated movie.
The
Mamba mentality. Yeah. What does that really mean? People need to get into that more. We need to talk about that more. But we want to thank you for coming on.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Everybody, keep supporting us. Please check us out on Patreon. You can get more of our extra content on there. You can also please take the survey that we also have and check out the holidays. Check out our TeePublic sale. A lot of our gear is on sale right now.
Get that merch.
Get that merch. Got to get that merch. That's it for episode 53. Oh, we about to be out real quick.
We got to pick a number.
We're gonna let Gerard pick it actually. Just run the names for Gerard.
Real quick. Mark Eaton.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Keep going. Go ahead.
Daryl Dawkins, Chocolate Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Who Dexter apparently met.
Go ahead.
Artist Gilmore.
Those are my 3.
No, there's more.
There's more. Okay. James Edwards. Do you remember who that
of course
is?
Okay. That's why I know James Edwards, of course.
I didn't. Alton Lister.
Dunked on by Sean Kemp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I know him from. Don Drysdale.
Ooh.
Interesting. I didn't expect that. Ooh. Bobby Abreu.
Wow. That's not good if you laugh at somebody like
He's
that.
He's a pure hitter.
Pure.
Pure hitter.
Melky Cabrera.
Melky!
I always put one Met into,
Those are my choices?
Chad Bradford.
Man, get out of here with that.
Bill Romanowski.
Listen, you know I ain't saying that, dude. Get that dude out of here.
Harry Carson.
Oh, Giants, man. Much love to Harry Carson. Go ahead.
Keith Bullock.
Wow. Go ahead.
Navarro Bowman.
That's all right. You know, I was tempted to go to something other than basketball, just to throw a little curveball out there, because Melky
You're
or
gonna go
something.
Chocolate Thunder, aren't you?
I got to go Chocolate
All
Thunder.
There you go. That is
I
it.
got to go
That is
Chocolate
it.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Clap it up, Chocolate Thunder episode.
There you go.
Jarod Hector, in love with the Chocolate Thunder.
Pause.
Oh,
Hold on.
Yo, you were waiting for that.
Really, guys?
Hold on.
After we started off the episode, you're just gonna increase the phobias out there.
Oh, yeah.
Because of some Chocolate Thunder.
You were waiting for that.
All right, this is the Chocolate Thunder episode 53 of the.
That's what the ladies call me. You don't know.
See?
See?
I didn't need to know all
See?
that, but
See?
all right, cool. That's it. And Brian's having way too much fun
Way
with the
too much fun.
soundboard. Way too much fun. All right,
No. We're not here for that.
Okay, whatever. It's the Chocolate Thunder episode 53 podcast. Jarod Hector, thanks for coming, man.
Appreciate
Until next
y'all.
time, guys. Peace.
Do I count?
No.